There's a saying that, if you work on something long enough and you keep adding to it, you eventually will come out with something. So you don't ever like get so discouraged that you want to trash it, you want to throw it away. I mean, you work with what you got. You'll find a way to make something from it. The works that I do require brushes that are very soft because I work I work kind of wet, and which means that I use a lot of water in my work. So I need brushes that are very, very supple, very easy to wash paint with, as opposed to a thicker brush that you'd use for oils. I work pretty much with the same colors all the time. I work with a teal, I work with an ochre yellow, I work with blue, red, greens, I mix colors. Sometimes if I want to create kind of almost like a more organic kind of painting where I have sky and I have earth, so top of my paper is going to be blues and whites and oranges, to kind of mimic sun and sunlight and light, and the bottoms are going to be more, greens and blacks and browns, and that, I mean that it works for me, but it doesn't always end up that way. If I'm working on a more realistic piece, then all you're doing is you're trying to recreate the image as close as you can from the photograph or from whatever you're working on. I grew up with three brothers. We all enjoyed drawing, painting. We had a studio when we were children. My dad built a studio for us so that we could do our artwork. So a lot of times, instead of playing outside, we were in the studio. So it was really something natural for me to do, something we all had desires to do. And again, speaking for myself, it was just, for me, it was fun to paint, fun to draw, fun to do artwork. But I mean, I also had other interests. I mean, it wasn't all art. I mean, I'm a musician. I learned to play guitar at a very young age. I played in bands, and I've traveled a lot with the guitar, so I was able to play in front of big audiences. But I mean, I had a natural childhood. I mean, I grew up liking sports as well. Played sports in high school, but it has always been, kind of the idea of working with art that has really kind of been my number one love. And so to this day, this is what I do. This is where I feel more comfortable. It's very normal for me. There's no better place for me to be than to be in this studio painting. Well, if I've got a project already in mind, I'm going to be working. The having this studio at home, it allows you to work almost anytime you feel like it. Anytime you feel like you got to get in there. If I'm excited, I got something I'm working on. I'll get up straight away and get in the studio as early as I can get in. I mean, I'm probably in here by 8 o'clock. Some pieces can take months to do, and so it's almost like if you're working at a job somewhere. You have to prioritize your day, and so it can be spend half the day working on it, take a break, get back to it. A lot of times you have to walk away from it. You can't stay with it all the time. You do get tired, especially if you're working in a large piece. So you have to sometimes walk away and go outside. But I'll work, you know, 8 hours, sometimes 14 hours on a piece. And I've even worked overnight. I'll come in here in the middle of the night if I feel like I need to get in here. Or I've got, you know, this, if I have a deadline, or if I just have a desire to go in there and continue working. So sometimes you're so excited about the work that you know, you never leave it. You know, you sleep thinking about it. You can't wait to wake up so that you can start working on it again. Now I have an exhibit at the Centro de Artes, Texas A&M's San Antonio Centro de Artes, downtown at the Mercado. I'm showing with another artist, Carolina Flores. The name of the exhibit it's called Nuestra Gente. And so it's a concept I had a long time ago that I approached another artist with to see if they were interested in doing it. But basically what it is it is an exhibit of art, of portrait art. For me, it's portrait art of the people of San Antonio. So what I did was I, you know, went downtown just to see the people that live there, work there, travel through, people riding the bus, people going to work. I mean, I felt like they needed to have a portrait done of them so they can be placed somewhere, because to me they're very significant. And we're at Texas A&M San Antonio Centro de Artes. This is the Nuestra Gente exhibit, and kind of going through a explanation of the work, you know, the reason, what was the concept for the exhibit, why I decided to do portrait work, and what inspired me to do this. These two pieces here, they're one and the same. This is a portrait of a woman waiting for a bus, and I started off doing the smaller piece here. She was someone who I saw as I walked by, actually stopped as I was walking by her, kind of walked a little ahead of her. I passed her up, and then I just stopped in my tracks, and I kind of walked backwards, and I asked her, you know, first thing I asked her if I could take her photo, and she said no. But I told her that she was, you know, she had a very interesting face, and a beautiful face. She finally kind of warmed up to me, and she allowed me to take her photo. So I started off with a smaller painting. Just again captured the way she wore the bandana. It just reminded me of San Antonio, maybe around the turn of the century, where there was a lot of discrimination, there was a lot of segregation. So I thought that I needed to really do this in a big painting, because to me, I think she kind of showed all the suffering that happened in the 50s and 60s when I grew up with the civil rights. And so I turned out this big portrait of her. This grouping here of people, it's called Afternoon Conversation, and they were, I took a photograph of these people and I painted it because I just liked the way these five people were conversing and having a conversation while waiting for a bus. They had refreshment, they had like peanuts, and they were drinking sodas, and they were just talking, and it looked like they were having a great time. So they were right here at the corner of Commerce and Soledad Street, and this gentleman was in a wheelchair, but they just kind of looked like they really respected each other and admired each other, were friends. And it just, again, I'm just having this idea of having a conversation. And this lady right here was really the kind of the focal point. You know, if you look, I kind of painted them with an aura around them. They all kind of show light, kind of emits It's emitted from their head and their torso, and it kind of just something angelic, or was kind of what I thought. The lady had a very sweet face, and she's a little bit brighter than the others. She's actually has like almost light kind of right on her. I don't know. She just reminded me of maybe a family member, one of my aunts or something. So this painting here, this larger painting, is a portrait of my father. His name was Jorge Garza, and he was the guy that did everything for me. I mean, he was my inspiration, he was my role model, he was my mentor, he was my inspiration. He only went through the 3rd grade. He immigrated from Mexico when he was 11 years old. Although he was born here, my grandparents were here working and then went back to Mexico. My dad just happened to be born in San Antonio, but he grew up in Monterrey, Mexico. He came as a young boy to work because his father had died, so he had to send money back to my grandmother. So he's someone that, with hardly any education, was able to raise 4 sons, put us through school, and then let us do what we wanted to do. He let us become artists, or let us become musicians, or just he told us that whatever our dream was, to do it. He cared about who we were. He cared about us, and you need that in life. You need somebody that will care for you. So my name is Mario Garza, and I'm a visual artist living in San Antonio, Texas.